don't really believe in haunted houses. I like horror movies, yeah, but I always assume the real stuff, the real life haunts, are just marketing. Then last October, my friend Lucas and I went to one that changed my mind a bit, or at least made me question how far people will go for a scare. I live just outside of Columbus, in a quiet suburb. Every Halloween, there's this traveling company that sets up a haunted house inside of old buildings, abandoned factories, schools, stuff like that. That year, they rented an old textile mill that had been closed since the 70s. It sat at the end of a cracked road near the river, windows boarded, surrounded by a rusted chain link fence. We went late, almost closing time. The parking lot was half empty, and the last group was already inside. As soon as we stepped in, I noticed the smell. Not fake fog, real machine oil and mildew. At first, it was fun. Classic stuff. Flashing lights, fake blood, people jumping from corners. Then we entered this section with dim yellow bulbs swinging overhead. The floor was slick, like someone had just hosed it down. There were workers scattered through that area, dressed in gray overalls, faces painted with soot and streaks of black grease. Most of them stayed still like mannequins until you got close, but one of them wasn't acting. He was standing near a broken conveyor belt, arms loose at his sides, just watching us. He wasn't wearing any makeup, just a blank expression and these glassy, unfocused eyes. Nice commitment, dude, Lucas said. The man didn't respond, didn't blink. We walked past him and entered another room filled with strobe lights. Halfway through, I turned around and he was in the doorway behind us still, staring, no sound, no movement, just watching. We tried to brush it off, but I swear the next corridor felt colder. When we got to the end, we saw a door labeled exit, but it was chained from the outside. At this, Lucas went pale. That's not funny, he said, assuming it was part of the show. That's when we heard footsteps. Slow, dragging ones coming from behind. We turned. The guy in overalls was halfway down the hallway, head tilted, hands sliding along the wall. We started shouting for help, banging on the exit door. Another worker, this one in a reflective vest, burst through the side door yelling, "Hey, what are you guys doing in here? We're closed." We told him what happened. He looked confused and said all the actors had already clocked out 15 minutes earlier. He swore nobody should still be in costumes. We went at the emergency exit with him. From the lot, I glanced back at the building and saw a light flicker in one of the upper windows. A tall shape moved past it, over us, unmistakable. The next morning, I looked up the old mill. It shut down after a boiler explosion killed three maintenance workers in 1972. I found a photo in the archives. There was a tall man, second from the left, in gray overalls, staring dead on at the camera. He looked exactly like the one who followed us out. This happened a couple of years ago when I was 22. My friend Marissa threw this huge Halloween party at a friend's parents' farmhouse while they were out of town. She went all out, strobe lights, fog machines, the whole 9 yards. There must have been 50 people there. People from high school, college friends, randoms. I went as a vampire. My buddy Eric went as a skeleton. Everything was chill for the first few hours. Loud music, cheap beer, bad costumes. Then around 11, this person showed up in a mask. Not like a plastic screen mask. This was weird. It looked homemade, almost paper mache. It was white with red circles on the cheeks, with the mouth slit into a thin smile. They were dressed in all black. No one knew who they were. Everyone thought someone else had brought them. They didn't talk, didn't dance, didn't drink. Just walked slowly through the crowd, kind of observing. At first, it was funny. Ooh, mysterious stranger, people joked. But after a while, it stopped being funny. I'd be talking to someone, turn around, and the masked person would just be standing there behind me, perfectly still. I tried talking to them, asked them who they were, if they wanted a drink, but they didn't respond. They just tilted their head, like a dog hearing a sound. Then they turned and walked away. Around midnight, power flickered for a few seconds. Probably someone bumping the breaker, and when it came back, the person was standing on the staircase. Just standing there, looking down at everyone. Marissa thought it was one of her friends messing with us and told them to take off the mask. They didn't move. Then they turned slowly, walked up the stairs, and disappeared into the dark hallway. We searched the house, every room, every closet, even outside, but couldn't find them. The only thing we noticed was that the back door was open, letting in cold air. Everyone went home early after that. A week later, Marissa went through her photos from that night. There were group selfies, random crowd shots, normal stuff, but in several of them, the masked person was in the background. Not just one or two, almost all of them. Sometimes they were half visible behind people, other times reflected in mirrors. In one photo, taken near midnight, you could see them behind Marissa on the stairs, looking straight into the camera. No one ever figured out who it was. Marissa said something weird though. Her parents came home from the following week and noticed something. The old porcelain mask that used to hang in their hallway, one her mom bought years ago in New Orleans, was gone. Every Halloween, my girlfriend and I escape town. Our neighborhood goes crazy. Loud parties, fireworks, endless trick-or-treaters. The birthday's October 30th, so we make it a tradition to rent a quiet cabin somewhere rural. Last year, we found one near a lake, about 2 hours from where I live in Michigan. The listing photo showed a cozy log cabin with a dock and a fireplace. Perfect. The host left us a handwritten note. Lock the lake door. The wind likes to play tricks. It rained most of the drive up. The woods were skeletal. No leaves left on the branches, just black outlines against gray sky. When we arrived, it was almost dark. We unpacked, made dinner, lit the fire, and poured wine. It was peaceful. No cars, no neighbors. Around midnight, we heard something knock from the direction of the lake door. 3 slow knocks. I checked. Nothing there. The wind off the lake was strong, so I figured it was that. Still, I slid the deadbolt. We went to bed. Around 2:30, something woke us. Footsteps on the deck, heavy, measured, pacing near the windows. My girlfriend whispered, "Deer?" I wanted to believe that, but it didn't sound like hooves. I turned off the bedside lamp and peeked through the curtain. The porch was empty, but the wet footprints on the boards weren't shaped like shoes. They were long, narrow, bare feet, like someone had been walking straight out of the lake. I locked every door, checked every window, but sleep didn't come easily. The footsteps stopped, replaced by the sound of dripping, slow, deliberate drips, like water falling from fingertips. At dawn, I stepped outside. The footprints led down to the dock, then ended at the edge. The last two prints faced the water, nothing else. We cut the trip short. I texted the host to let her know something strange had happened. She responded, "You stayed at Hollow Lake? That property's been closed since spring. We had flooding damage." I sent her a photo of the key. She said it wasn't theirs. To this day, I don't know who rented it to us, or whose voice we heard that night calling faintly from the dock just before sunrise. The one that said, "You forgot to lock the lake door."